Hi guys, welcome back to another Liverpool video. A few things to talk about today, kind of halfway through the season, so I'm going to do a little tier list towards the end of this as well, so stay tuned for that. Quick one before I get into the video though, obviously I quite like making content, but maybe not so good on videography and adding special effects in and images and stuff like that. So if you're a Liverpool fan and you want to partner up and help me edit my videos and just bring them to life a bit more with pictures and thumbnails and all that sort of thing, just give me a shout in the comments, and hopefully we can do something together so I can provide the content that you guys obviously like to watch, and I can get someone to help me jazz them up a little bit and make them a little bit more interesting, adding in pictures, because my video editing is non-existent, so I can make the content. If you're interested in that, give me a shout, and I'll be really interested to work with you. So in terms of the video today, I'm going to talk about the Southampton game, the Aston Villa Cup tie, and the FA Cup draw that was done yesterday. We had two different draws, so we'll be getting into that as well. So we're going to start at the beginning, which was the Southampton game, which I spoke about in my last video, being fairly quietly confident because Southampton aren't a team that are going to park the bus. They're a team that are actually going to, especially at home, come out and try and win a game. They're flying quite high in the league, looking for a top four, maybe even a top six more realistically. But yeah, Danny Ings obviously was written in the stars. Was going to score against his old team, wasn't he? Really good goal. Trent switched off. Good free kick from Ward-Prowse, who's known for his set pieces. And yeah, great finish from Danny Ings. Fair play. Lobbed it over Alisson. Doesn't even look at the goal. And yeah, a player that really, I think, looking back, we should have held on to. Is he better than Origi? Yes. Does he score more goals than Firmino in a season? I would say he does. So yeah, I think for me, Danny Ings is one we let go too early. Obviously, two massive injuries, really unlucky with two ACLs during the 2 years that Klopp was when Klopp took over. But yeah, Trent had a really bad game, didn't he? It was his fault for the goal. And yeah, he gave the ball away, I think, a record 38 times, which is disgraceful, really. But the thing I don't like is when Klopp moans about things and he says, once you go 1-0 down that early, it's almost like that's the end. He was kind of saying that's it. Once that happened, the game was over. Well, not really. They scored after 2 minutes, so we had another 88 minutes to score at least once, if not two, and we never looked like scoring, did we? Sideways, backwards, boring, slow build up, going nowhere. Teams can get behind the ball, and we just can't break them down. I know what happened to this, heavy metal football. I've said it 100 times. It's just boring. It's just not good to watch. We're not penetrating any teams. There's no energy. And, the way we score goals is by counter-attacking on the break, with Robertson and Firmino against Palace, or, Trent and Robertson crossing it into Salah, I think, for a goal against Man City as well. I think one side to the other. It was a great goal. So I don't know what's happened. I don't know. I'll get into it a bit more in a minute on the next game, which was even worse, technically. But, yeah, I'm not too sure if it's people have fallen out with each other, or yeah, the squad harmony just doesn't seem right at the moment, is what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, Trent didn't have a good game, but disappointing, really. There wasn't really much else to talk about. We lost 1-0. We didn't create anything, and we deserved to lose. So hopefully we'll pick that up in the next game. We have Burnley away in the league on Thursday, which is a must-win now, really, isn't it? I mean, really it would be anyway, but the fact that we've dropped so many points lately, and United can go top. Sorry, United are playing Burnley, so they can go top with a result against Burnley, and then we play Man United at the weekend. Sorry, got that the wrong way around. So we play Burnley the week after that. So just to confirm, Man United play Burnley this week. If they get a point, they go top, and then we play Man United at the weekend. So yeah, it'll be good to see how we respond, because we've got up for the big games. Against Tottenham, that was first v second, and we got up for that, and we put in a good performance. At Anfield again, no fans this time, but yeah, you'd hope that we can put in a good performance against Man United in the league. A lot of United fans say they're in a false position because they don't feel that they've played well enough to be joint top. It's just because others have dropped points or had injuries like ourselves. So we'll see whereabouts we are compared to United on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that game. I did a bit of a preview before with the team lineups that I thought might happen, but we'll wait and see. What that brings. That game is a tricky one. United are in good form. Rashford and Fernandes are their key men, clearly. Can we keep them quiet? I think it depends who we play at centre back, because we started that Southampton game with Fabinho and Henderson at centre-back. And, Fabinho, yes, can slot in there and do a job. Henderson, for me, is not a centre-back. He's already playing defensive midfield, which means we lose his attacking ability, which he was really good at last season, and we lose Fabinho in the holding role. So not only are we weakening our defence, we're weakening our midfield as well, because Fabinho and Henderson are in the first choice midfield. So dropping them both into the defence, all right, you can bring in Thiago, who looks a player, but Chamberlain, Jones have not been great lately either. So yeah, we're missing them. So yeah, obviously January transfer window was opened on at the start of this month, and here we are on the 12th of Jan. No centre back imminently coming in. I think if we were going to get one, we'd have got one by now. I don't see it happening. Whether or not we're planning something big in the summer, I don't know. That's been linked, but yeah, we seem to be quite hush with our transfers until it happens, don't we? So I'll hold out some hope until the end of this month that we sign a centre back, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Klopp seems just a little bit too arrogant at times. I mean, even my partner was saying, why do clubs do this? Clearly, some teams, have a position that they need to strengthen, and maybe it takes them 2 years to finally do it. And you think, look at all those trophies that you've kind of just not won by not signing this player 2 years earlier. Arsenal have needed a Vieira replacement for about 20 years, etc. So, clearly when we brought Van Dijk in, our defence was a horror show, and Van Dijk made it so much better. But we need another one next to him, which is what Man City did. They brought in Laporte, and then they brought in Ruben Diaz. When them two are fit and firing, then, they're solid. They've got 2 top centre-backs. But, we rely so much on Van Dijk to improve the game of the person playing next to him that when he's not there, you see them for who they really are. And, now Gomez and Matip are not fit either. Like you say, you've got Fabinho, who is okay. But, yeah, Reece Williams and Nat Phillips are not up to standard at all, are they? So, yeah, we really need to improve. And whether we was to sign, Koulibaly and Upamecano, there's plenty out there that would improve on what we have at the moment. So not too much to update you on in the centre-back signings. I'm not sure that we're going to be getting anybody in January. I know we've been linked with, Mbappe or Haaland in the summer, but we'll have to see how the COVID situation's going, because it doesn't look like we're going to be spending too much money until fans are back in the stadium. We'll see how that goes. But positive news: Van Dijk apparently is doing really, really well in his recovery from his injury. Potentially coming back into training in March, which is a lot earlier than we would have expected. Obviously, he wants to be fit for the Euros as well, so possibly playing again by April for us. Maybe finish off the season. Hopefully, we're still in the Champions League by then, and he can play in maybe a quarter-final or a semi-final or even a final if we're lucky, because he's that important. He's the difference between going out in the quarters or winning the whole thing, or coming second or third or winning the league. He's that important to us. So fingers crossed he comes back towards the end of the season. Gomez the same. It would be really nice to see at least Van Dijk feature in 5 games, 6, 7, 8 games towards the end of the season, rather than having to wait until next season, September time. But yeah, anyway, moving on from that, we had Aston Villa in the Cup. But due to a COVID situation, Villa had to play their under-23s, which was basically their under-19s. I don't think anybody was above the age of 19, even 18 maybe. I think some of them were 17. So, yeah, we basically played our best team. We dropped a few. Keller had played, but if that team turns out in the Champions League or the Premier League, I'm not shocked. And yeah, we went 1-0 up with a Mane header. And then, yeah, they equalised. And it was probably the most embarrassing moment I can remember as a Liverpool fan for quite some time. Fair play to the lad, Louis Barry. A good through ball, and he absolutely roasted Reece Williams for pace and strength, and a great finish from Kelleher. Great goal. But, yeah, it just shows you, how is that allowed to happen? If my under-11s were against my, the under-15s in the same club, we'd get annihilated because the levels are just unfair. But, Liverpool are literally letting 17, 18-year-olds that have not got one appearance between them in a senior game score. It's shocking. And it took us to about the hour mark to even get ahead. Wijnaldum with a good goal. But, yeah, it took the introduction of Thiago to break down a team of 17, 18-year-olds, which shows you where this team is at the moment. Really lacking confidence, really poor, and it just shows you why we lost 7-2 to the first team, doesn't it? Mane got a header for 3-1, and Salah scored a pretty good turn and shot goal for 4. But, yeah, the damage was done, wasn't it? Half-time, the score was 1-1. trending on social media that, you know, we're drawing with a bunch of 17, 18-year-olds, which, you know, fair play to them. They did play really well. You know, they did deserve some credit, but, you know, there's no way we should have been giving them a chance, is there? So that just kind of shows you where the form is. So going into this weekend's game against Man United, I'm really not confident at all. I would usually be. I just don't know what to expect from this team at the moment. You just don't know what's going to turn up. We're missing Jota, but I just don't know what to expect currently. So massive shame on the form. Hopefully we turn it around soon. We can get back to winning ways. One other thing which was quite good, obviously, lately was the FA Cup draw. So we're away to Man United, which makes it quite interesting. I'm not sure if we'll play, you know, I don't think we'll play the first team. We might play half the first team and rest half of them due to the fact we've got Burnley in between the two United games. So we'll have back-to-back weekends against Man United. So we've got home to Man United in the league on Sunday. Then we've got Burnley on Thursday in the league away. And then we've got United away in the FA Cup at the weekend as well. So I think the Premier League games quite rightly will be prioritised. You know, the Burnley game is only 3 days probably before the FA Cup tie, so you're unlikely to see the best team in all 3 games. I think the first 2 games, it will probably, the Man United game this weekend will be first choice. The Burnley game in the league, you might drop 1 or 2 and bring in a Minamino, but it'll be fairly strong. And I think the FA Cup game with United, you might see, you know, a few other fringe players come in. But yeah, you still want to win it. Klopp's not got past the 5th round in the FA Cup. I've not seen Liverpool do anything in the Cup for quite some time now. I think the last time we did anything, we got to the final under Kenny Dalglish. I remember Andy Carroll scoring a disallowed goal against Chelsea, which looked like it should have counted. But yeah, obviously 2001 we won it with Julio and Michael Owen against Arsenal. 2006 we beat West Ham with Gerrard. Special performance in the final as well. So yeah, since then really, other than that Chelsea final, there's not been much to shout about in the FA Cup. It's definitely lost some of its magic, but it's kind of looked at as a second-rate competition because the rewards just aren't in comparison to what you'd get in the league. So you're not really judged on how you do in the FA Cup really at all, especially not the top 6 teams. They've got much bigger fish to fry in Europe or in the Prem. But yeah, it's a shame. I think maybe if the Carabao Cup was scrapped, the FA Cup would mean a bit more because it's just, one other trophy, not 2. And the FA Cup is spread out quite nicely. It's over every other weekend, although there are some midweek Prem games after the turn of the year. But the Carabao Cup seems to just get in the way. It's kind of the second game in the season for some of the EFL clubs. So yeah, I would like to see an FA Cup run. It's always good fun watching the draw, and my dad and my son, Chelsea and Luton fans. I'm obviously Luton as well, and they got each other too. So that was a really cool draw as well. So some really good draws to look forward to. As I say, that's not this weekend, but the weekend after. So I'm really looking forward to them games. So we'll see how we get on in the league against United and against Burnley, and then we'll do another video after those, just before that FA Cup weekend. Other things to talk about really, Wijnaldum's contract has hit stalemate, is how they've described it in the media. Yeah, it seems more and more likely that he's going to be on his way, which is quite incredible. A player of that level and that importance, by the fact that you can see how often Klopp plays him, and he says himself, you can see how important he is in the lineups because he plays every game, every big game. He's probably the most consistent player in the squad, him and Robertson. To lose him on a free, it's just awful. He's 30, I get that. He might want to go and try something new, but I get the feeling that if he was offered what he feels he deserves in wages, he would stay. Why would you want to leave a successful Liverpool team? He's been linked with Barcelona for the Koeman link, and I think Memphis Depay's best mate's on the way there as well, so it's very appealing. But, I think he's on 75,000 a week, and, I think he wants to double his wages to 150k with a decent bonus. I think he more than deserves that. We've got Salah and Van Dijk on 200k. He's not asking to be a top earner, but he deserves more than he's currently on in football terms. In live terms, of course, it's crazy money anyway. But, if I was a professional footballer and my colleagues were on more than double me and I played every match and was important, I'd be like, well, hang on, why aren't I getting the same as them? So, totally in Wijnaldum's corner with this one. Klopp clearly wants to keep him, so I think it's just maybe Michael Edwards or FSG that don't want to give a big contract to a player of that age, but they brought in Thiago with a similar age. They would have had to give him a decent wage and decent signing on fee. So for me, Wijnaldum deserves it. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. But in terms of finishing off, I just wanted to do a quick tier list. So basically, I've never done a tier list, but I've seen them online. They're quite cool. And basically, I want to do like a half-term report, half-season review. So every player in the squad that's featured in the first team, just to basically see what where are they in the Liverpool squad? Are they really really important? Are they kind of just making up the numbers, or is it time for them to move on? So hopefully you guys will be able to see this as a good view. I'll try and get it as best I can. Let me see if I can line it up so you can see it. As I said, my video editing is not great. It would be good to be able to put this on the screen for the video, but I don't know how to do that. So fingers crossed you guys can see this, and I shall get going. Right, okay, it looks pretty good. Hopefully you don't fall over. So yeah, most of the players you can see on here, there's loads who featured this season. We've got some categories. We've got boss, we've got good, we've got average, we've got poor, and we've got time to go. So I'm going to go through them. There's a few players on there that aren't on there. I think only 3, which I'll mention at the end as well. But yeah, let's just dive straight in. So Adrian, yeah, it's time to go because he's now the 3rd choice goalkeeper, which is a real shame. Obviously, he came in and started really, really well in his Liverpool career. Played in a few Premier League games, made a couple of errors, but primarily we were winning those games on the way to a fantastic season last season in the Prem, and featured in the Super Cup final and was a hero in the shootout. But since then, he's come in. Atletico Madrid, I think, was really the final nail in the coffin, where he's just cost us in a massive game, Karius moment, and now Kevin Kelleher is now the 2nd choice goalie and looks more capable than him at, what is he, 19? Adrian's 34. So, yeah, I think his contract's up at the end of the season. I think it's time to move on for him. Maybe back to Spain, or, maybe even drop to the Championship and get some first-team football before he hangs up his boots. Because I don't really think he's going to want to be 3rd choice behind a teenager. So, yeah. In complete opposite, Alisson, obviously absolute boss. He's had a couple of injury problems this season, which isn't ideal, but yeah, he's the best goalie in the world for me, or at least in the top 3. He's so important to this team, and without him, we're a mess at the back. We're really, really in trouble without this guy. So not much to say on him other than he's absolutely brilliant. Obviously, Bruce has moved on. Elliott's on loan. Fabinho, again, has to go in the boss category for me. We've missed him in midfield, but without him filling in at centre-back, I dare to think where we would be in the league. He's been that good. He's been the Van Dijk of the back 4, keeping them in touch, doing some great performances. He was just thrust straight in there, and he's not got a lot of experience at the back, but yeah, he was really, really good this season, and fingers crossed he can be back in midfield next season. Bobby Firmino is an interesting one. I'd probably put him in the good category. Last season he didn't score enough goals. This season he's scoring more against Palace and against Spurs. He's not boss because he could score more, and he nearly lost his place to Jota. He kind of did for a little while until Jota picked up that injury. But yeah, I think good category. I'd love him to be back here again, but I think if Jota comes back on form and Bobby doesn't keep up the goal scoring, then he could drop to average very quickly. Gomez, I can't do anything more than average. He wasn't great when he was there on his own without Van Dijk. He wasn't great next to Van Dijk this season, and he's got another injury. One injury here or there, long term, fine, but it's constant with this guy. And he is an average defender. I think Van Dijk makes him look much better than he is. And yeah, I think there's a lot better out there. I don't think we should be hanging on, waiting for Gomez to come back to fitness. I think we should replace him now, and when he comes back, a bit like Klein, he was out for ages. Trent came through, Trent was better, and Klein had to move on because he'd been replaced because he'd been out for so long. So yeah, he's going in the average category for me. Henderson, it's got to be boss, absolute leader. Without him, I'm not sure where we'd be in the league. He's absolutely fantastic. He's a leader. He's got it all. He can pass. He started to get assists and goals last season. He's filled in at centre-back, right back. He's just got everything, isn't he? So top professional, the Roy Keane of this squad. Curtis Jones, I would definitely put in the good category. I don't think he's been world-class every game, but he's come through and looked really strong. And for a little while, he was in due to injuries and centre-back options, midfielders dropping back. He was in the first 11 for quite some time. So he's still young. I don't think you can rely on him to become a first-choice player for the rest of time. Now he's in, but he will be in and out. And give him a few years, I think he'll be a mainstay in this Liverpool team. So Keep an eye on Curtis Jones. Not quite boss, but definitely better than average this season. Diogo Jota, got to be boss. Missing him madly at the moment with injury. Hopefully he'll be back towards the end of this month. But yeah, he's started on fire, didn't he? I think some of these points that we've dropped against West Brom and Brighton and Newcastle and Southampton, he would have made the difference from losses to draws and draws to wins, which he was doing before he got injured. You know, he got the winner against a couple of the teams at Anfield in the Premier League, got us 4 points there and got a hat-trick away to Atalanta in the Champions League. So hopefully he comes back very, very soon. He's been brilliant. Obviously, this is a picture of Karius. I'm going to use it as Kelleher. And I'm going to put him in the good category because, yeah, he's been good. He's a much better option than Adrian. He's not made any errors, and he's really improved from just being the kind of 17-year-old nobody cup goalie that lets in 5 goals a game to now looking a safe pair of hands and a safe pair of feet in the cup competitions. And now and again, you know, in the Champions League, he had to come in and play a game because Alisson had a knock. So, yeah, I feel very confident with Kelleher as the backup option now. It's difficult, isn't it? With backup goalies, you either have someone that's past their best or someone that's not there yet. So I think up and coming is better than it has been. So yeah, I know that's Karius, but this will be our Kelleher for now. Definitely in the good category. And that leads me on to, obviously, Grujic is out on loan. Naby Keita. What a conundrum Naby Keita is. For me, I think that would be probably, you know, the best he could hope for. But I'm genuinely putting him in time to go. I can't sit here and you know, have a go at Pogba not being any good after how many years he's been there without dropping Keita into that same category. It's time to go. He when he does play, he's not brilliant. He's not, you know, he's fairly average. I'm still not sure what kind of a midfielder he is. Is he box to box? Is he holding? Is he an advanced playmaker? Is he a Mazzala? What does he do? And he's just injured 24/7. He's always injured. It's just not good enough to me. You know, again, a bit like Gomez, you're just waiting for him to be fit, and he's never going to be fit. He can't handle the physicality of the Premier League. So, for me, 60 million flop. Klopp hasn't got many wrong with transfers, but this one is definitely, you know, especially with all the hype, getting him a year in advance, it's definitely time to move him out and get someone that we can actually rely on to be fit and available for when we do have injuries in the first team. Sadio Mane, obviously, I think he went on a bit of a run without scoring any goals. I think he went on a 9 or 10 game run without scoring, but he's so important to this team. He's just world class, and without him, yeah, you know, the backup that comes in for him aren't anywhere near his level, are they? So, yeah, for Mane, for me, will always be in this category until the day he's not playing for us anymore. Joel Matip, he's another one, isn't he? I think it's time to go. Yeah, he's all right when he plays, but how often does he play? You know, and when he does play, he goes off injured. I just don't. Yeah, I think he's another Lovren. He's all right, but he's a little bit more reliable at the back than Lovren is. But he's just constantly injured, just like Keita. And there comes a point where you're fed up of waiting for people to be fit. I'm just not. Yeah, I'm just bored of it now. Get someone in that's going to be fit and available, because Matip is not, and you cannot rely on him. You know, he's the backup to Gomez and Van Dijk, and when Gomez and Van Dijk are injured, he's injured too. So what's the point of having him? Time to go for me. James Milner, I'd probably say average. I think last season he was good. I think he's now getting to the point where he is a little bit too old at this level now. He's 35, and he's just started to look a little bit off the pace, picking up injuries, which he never really did before. I think poor would be harsh, but yeah, definitely average. I think it's probably going to be the last season that we're going to see Milner feature. I think he could probably become a coach next season. I do like Milner, but yeah, you know, he's 35. I think it's time to replace him and Keita and get in another top midfielder to replace them, because I think that's something that we miss at times. Minamino, another difficult one, isn't it? Honestly, I think it is. What has he been here? A year now. We got him last January. What has he actually done? When he gets on the ball, you know, he passes it to the nearest person, sideways or backwards. He never does a penetrating pass. He's got a decent goal at Palace, and then he doesn't feature again for 5 games. So clearly he's not training particularly well. And yeah, you know, it was 7 million, so it's not as much of a flop as, you know, if you look at these guys. Adrian was free, Matip was free, and Minamino was about 7 mil. So, you know, they were worth a gamble, but they haven't paid off. This guy, you know, at 60 mil, you know, we expected more. So for me, there's better players than Minamino out there. I don't think he's a Liverpool level player at all. Which leads me on to Divock Origi, who also goes in time to go. I'm being a bit ruthless today, but again, he's had his moments for Liverpool, but yeah, he's just not. He's not at the level anymore, is he? You know, he doesn't get any game time. When he does play, he doesn't look up to speed. He doesn't look like at the level he was even a couple of years ago when he had the little dreadlock hair in his picture. Yeah, it's disappointing, but again, we need strikers that are going to actually challenge Firmino to start. Like Jota has come in flying, and Origi doesn't challenge that front three. He doesn't look great wide. He's decent through the middle at times, but yeah, he needs to move on, I think, to a West Ham or a Wolves and Newcastle and actually play. So we'll see how he gets on. But yeah, for me, it's time. His Liverpool time is over. He's been here a long time now. I think he's probably been one of the longest serving players in the first team at least. He came in 2015, I believe, had a few loan spells out, had his moments, as I've said, especially in the Champions League. But yeah, I think it's time now. Chamberlain, I can't put him any higher than average. I do like him. He's only just come back from injury. He didn't start the season. He was injured, so he's only played recently in the last few games. I do like him, but again, he's another player that's constantly injured. I think he's in the last chance saloon as well. He's becoming a bit like Lallana, isn't he? When he plays, when he's fit, he's good, but how often is that? So yeah, I think hopefully he can just try and kick on a bit and, work his way into the team because he's such a good player. But yeah, it's difficult to put him any higher than this at the minute. He just needs some consistency. Robertson, absolutely boss. If there was a higher category, I'd put him in there. Mr. Consistent, he gets assists, he's a great defender, his attitude is great, he's never injured, he's always available, he runs as hard as he does in the first minute as he does in the 90th minute. He's absolutely world class, and for me the best left back in the world. Absolutely fantastic player. Not much else to say about him, he's top drawer. Same with this guy, Mo Salah. Has his critics, hasn't looked great the last couple of games, but he always comes back firing. It wouldn't surprise me if he scored against United at the weekend. And yeah, another player that, without him in the team, I dread to think where we'd be. I think he scored 13 goals in 13 Prem games towards the start of the season. He's dipped off a bit lately, but I'm sure he'll be bringing those numbers back up again soon. Xherdan Shaqiri, difficult one. I'd probably put him in poor. I don't think it's time to go yet. He's another one that struggles with injuries, but he's just not played enough. He's come in now and again. He's done all right, but for me, he's just not featured enough. He's not made enough of a difference. You can't say, he came on against Aston Villa under 18s and had a good game. Well, yeah, let's think about the opposition. So for me, he sits in here. I'd love him to go this way, but I think if his injuries carry on and he can't get any kind of run into the team, it will be dropping into time to go fairly soon. This guy, it's difficult to put him in anything other than here. I think good would probably be more fair because he's not played enough yet. He's had COVID, he's had a few injuries, but from what I've seen him playing, he's just unbelievable. He's such a good player. He's an absolute baller. And for me, yeah, he deserves to be in this top ranking because he's, arguably the best footballer in this squad. He's outrageous. So hopefully he stays fit now and has a really good run and can push us on towards the title. Trent, I think it's got to go in the good category, which, for me is quite a shock. You'd expect him to always be in this boss category. He's not. He's a victim of his own success. He's been so good constantly that he's always been in this top category. But this lately, he's just dipped a little bit. He needs to improve on his defensive side. His assists need to carry on punching those numbers. And I think he's just been found out a little bit without Van Dijk in that back four. So hopefully he'll kick on. He's still young. We treat him like, he's the same age as these guys, and he's not. He's still in his very, very low 20s. He will definitely improve still, hopefully defensively as well. But yeah, for me, in terms of this season, he's definitely in the good category, but I would be amazed if he didn't end up in the boss category by the end of the season. I'll do another tier list at the end. This guy, fullback, which is a complete waste of money, Tsimikas, looks half asleep when he plays, doesn't look interested, doesn't look like a footballer, and he's just constantly injured again. I think he's played one game, maybe two. He's dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I don't know why we've brought him in. There's so many better options. Aliba's available on a free. He could be a backup left back and a centre back as well. Would be perfect. 2 players in one. So for me, Tsimikas, complete waste of money. Needs to be moved on. Very, very sharpish. Van Dijk, difficult to put him in boss because he's been injured, but I'd definitely put him in the good category. I wouldn't say he's been at his absolute finest before he got injured this season. You know, he was in the team when we lost 7-2 to Villa. Obviously, I think if he'd have played every game from his injury till now, he would have been in the boss category. But yeah, in terms of if I'm rating it on this season alone, you can't put someone in that's been out for that long in the boss category, because although Thiago missed a similar amount of time at the start of the season, he's now current form looking like he's going to be playing most games. Van Dijk isn't going to be even featuring in this team probably until late March, early April. So yeah, these two are going to definitely be in here most of the time. But for now, in terms of September to Jan, I think good category is fair enough. Gino Wijnaldum is the last picture I've got, and again, absolute boss. I've spoke a bit about him in terms of his contract. He's world class. I don't care what anybody says. He's a world class presser. All right, he's not all about goals and assists, but a lot of the time he drives the ball from defence to attack and starts off a lot of those attacks that, you know, maybe the likes of the fullbacks or the front three get the credit for finishing off or assisting. He maybe assists the assist. And such an important personality in this squad. So yeah, hopefully Wijnaldum will sign that deal and remain in that boss category for quite some time. These guys are the only three that I haven't got pictures of. Reece Williams, obviously, he's all right, but we shouldn't really be relying on someone that was on loan to a non-league team last season. So I think time to go is harsh. I think a loan would be good. I would probably put him in the poor category or maybe the average category. Let me know what you think in the comments. Probably average for now, just because at least he's played, at least he's been fit. He's looked okay, but yeah, anyone that runs at him with any pace, i.e. Louis Barry, it shows you the level that he's at. You know, he's got no pace, and that's not something that you get with time. You know, he's going to be that quick for the rest of his life. So I think, yeah, between average and poor for me on Reece Williams, probably on the average category for now because he's got room to grow. Nico Williams, I'll probably put in the poor category. He's not really featured at all. When he has, he's not really looked anything at all. He burst onto the scene and looked really good, but yeah, the last year or so, he's definitely taken a step back. So I'd put him in the poor category again. Could do with a loan. Definitely not time to go, but yeah, I would probably say poor was fair enough. So Reece Williams in the average and Nico in the poor. Nat Phillips, he's one down from that, isn't it? It's time to go. He's 23. He was going to leave in the summer, but we couldn't get a permanent deal done in time. He's just absolutely runs in treacle, the kind of pace he's got, which is non-existent. You know, he's a football league centre back, isn't he? He would do a good job. At a bottom half championship team, something like that. So for me, it's time to go for him. I'm not sure how he's managed to get to 23 and still be in the Liverpool reserves, and now only being brought through because of injury. So that was my tier list. I hope you enjoyed it. I know the video's gone on a little bit longer than normal now, but as I said, if you want to kind of help me jazz up my videos a bit with some editing skills, give me a shout in the comments. If you're new, subscribe, like the video, and I'll catch you guys soon.